A glimpse into the future. The Galactic Council was unlike any other assembly in the known universe. Representatives from countless worlds filled the massive chamber, their forms as diverse as the stars themselves. Some were ethereal, others solid, and many were made of materials that defied human understanding. The air hummed with soft conversations in languages older than Earth itself, as beings who had lived for millennia exchanged their thoughts in a peaceful, yet tense, atmosphere. At the center of this vast assembly stood Ambassador Kieran, the first human ever invited to speak before the council. His presence alone was a cause for quiet whispers. Humans had long been seen as insignificant, a young species, barely out of its cradle. The other species had watched Earth with detached curiosity, unsure if humanity would survive its own violent nature. Yet here Kieran was, with a message none of them expected. He stood tall, his eyes scanning the chamber filled with alien eyes. Honored members of the council, he began, his voice steady yet carrying a weight that made even the most ancient of beings sit a little straighter. I come to you with a warning about a species you have yet to fully understand, my own. A ripple of surprise spread through the crowd. Most knew of Earth, but they saw it as a planet full of primitive creatures barely managing to explore their own solar system. They had watched as humanity struggled through wars, climate disasters, and political turmoil. Few took them seriously, and fewer still thought them capable of influencing galactic affairs. But Kieran's eyes did not waver. He continued, "We've detected a movement, an alliance that has turned its gaze upon Earth. The Meridian Alliance, a coalition of war-driven species, is planning to enlist humanity in their interstellar conflict." The council members, stunned by the sheer audacity of the statement, murmured among themselves. One of the council's reptilian delegates, with scales that shimmered under the artificial lights, spoke first. "Humans? They are barely out of their infancy in terms of space travel. They haven't even explored their own planet's oceans properly. What could they bring to a galactic war?" Kieran took a deep breath. "You underestimate them," he said, his voice growing firm. "I have studied your wars, your strategies, and your battles. You've never seen anything like humans in conflict." As he spoke, a holographic display flickered to life above him, showing Earth's turbulent history, wars between nations, struggles for survival, and conflicts that spanned centuries. Images of humanity's ancient past filled the room. Sword battles in medieval times, the devastation of World War II, and the modern-day conflicts fought with drones and cyber weapons. "You see," Kieran continued, "humans don't just fight wars. They'd reinvent them. From the first wars fought with spears to the age of nuclear power, they evolve at an astonishing rate. Every conflict leads to technological breakthroughs. But more than that, humans innovate in ways that other species can't even fathom." The council members were silent as the display shifted, showing the extraordinary medical innovations born from war, prosthetics, advanced battlefield medicine, and techniques that turned injuries into opportunities for growth. The images depicted human resilience in the face of destruction, showing how humanity had transformed the horrors of war into tools for peace. "Humanity doesn't just survive war," Kieran continued. "They learn from it. They take the worst aspects of conflict and turn them into something that can benefit their entire society. Their ingenuity isn't just on the battlefield. It's in every aspect of their lives." A wave of uncertainty swept through the room. The council leader, an enigmatic being composed entirely of shifting energy, pulsed with interest. "Are you suggesting that humans are a force to be reckoned with?" it asked, its voice like a chorus of distant echoes. Kieran nodded solemnly. "I am. They are not predictable. They don't just adapt to new technology, they redefine it. Give them a weapon, and they'll make it their own. Show them a new way to think, and they'll turn it into something unimaginable." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle over the assembly. "I warn you, if the Meridian Alliance drags humanity into their war, they will change the course of it in ways you cannot foresee. Their creativity in combat is matched only by their ability to survive against overwhelming odds. If they enter this conflict, it will no longer be just another war. It will be something none of us can control. The chamber fell into silence. The delegates exchanged uneasy glances, some skeptical, others fearful. Karen's words had planted a seed of doubt that would take root, but whether it would grow into action or be dismissed as the ramblings of an outsider, no one could yet say. But Karen had done what he came to do. He had sent a warning that no one could ignore. And as he turned to leave the chamber, he knew the future of the galaxy rested on the choices the Council would make in the coming days. Would they heed the warning, or would they make the mistake of underestimating humanity? The future, as always, was uncertain. But one thing was clear: humans were no longer a species that could be ignored. The rise of humanity. Weeks passed since Ambassador Kieran's warning, and the Galactic Council's deliberations were still ongoing. As the discussion continued behind closed doors, one thing became clear to the more cautious members: humanity was not to be taken lightly. Their technological advancements, their creativity in warfare, and their relentless drive were factors no one could ignore, even if they wished to. While the Council debated, back on Earth, the world remained unaware of the cosmic storm brewing above them. Earth's governments had begun to notice strange ships in their skies, yet no one truly understood their origin. To the average human, the stars seemed as distant as ever, and the thought of intergalactic war seemed like nothing more than science fiction. But beneath the surface, something was stirring. In a hidden facility deep in the Nevada desert, a group of human scientists gathered around a holographic map of the solar system. Commander Ilara Hayes, a decorated war hero and expert strategist, stood at the center of the room, her piercing blue eyes scanning the data that had just been sent from the latest military satellites. The data was unsettling. "Look at this," she said, tapping the screen. "These ships, they don't belong to any known faction we've encountered, and they're headed straight for Earth." Her team of scientists exchanged worried glances. One of the younger analysts, Lieutenant Ben Harper, spoke up. "Do you think it's the Meridian Alliance? The alien coalition from the outer colonies?" Ilara's jaw tightened. "I don't know. But if it is, we need to prepare. We may not understand what they want, but we've been trained for this kind of uncertainty." Despite Earth's lack of advanced space technology, humanity had built an impressive military in recent decades. The global wars of the past had pushed humanity into an era of rapid technological growth, and military leaders had taken the lessons of history to heart. Earth was no longer the backwater planet many galactic species once thought it was. The United Nations Space Command, UNSC, had formed after the last World War, its primary goal being to ensure the planet's survival against external threats. But Earth's military capabilities, while formidable for a species still learning the ways of the stars, had always been based on ingenuity and adaptability rather than sheer technological superiority. Ilara turned to her team. "Prepare the interceptors. We're going to make sure they know that Earth is not a target. If the Meridian Alliance thinks they can take us by surprise, they've underestimated humanity's ability to defend itself." As the team scrambled to activate Earth's advanced space defense systems, the tension on the planet was palpable. People had no idea what was coming, but the government and military were already on high alert. As the first fleet of Meridian ships approached Earth's orbit, Commander Hayes and her team knew they had only one chance to make a statement. Earth was not going to be another casualty in a galactic war. In the vast expanse of space, aboard the Meridian flagship Avaris, Commander Xalar stared out into the endless stars. A being of imposing stature, Xalar's exoskeleton gleamed under the dim lights of the ship's control deck. The fleet under his command had been silently approaching Earth for weeks, its cloaking technology rendering it invisible to human detection systems. He was excited, yet troubled. The Meridian Alliance had been watching Earth for some time now, intrigued by the species' rapid evolution. Humans, with their constant fighting and frequent conflicts, had created a chaotic yet resilient society. The Meridian Alliance, known throughout the galaxy for their powerful fleets and advanced technology, were convinced that humans could be an asset to their ongoing war against the stellar dominion. But Salar was not so sure. The reports from the initial scouting missions suggested that humans were far more dangerous than anyone had predicted. Their capacity for innovation, especially in warfare, was unlike anything the Alliance had encountered before. What started as simple tactics evolved into advanced strategies within a matter of decades. Humans were unpredictable, and that made them both a potential asset and a massive liability. "I don't trust them," muttered Salar's second-in-command, Lieutenant Threx. A sleek, winged species from the planet Psychor, Threx had been skeptical of involving humans in the Alliance's military endeavors. "Their wars are not like ours. They fight with passion, with a fire that makes them unpredictable." Zelor turned to his lieutenant. "I know, but that fire could be harnessed. The Stellar Dominion doesn't understand chaos. If we can control it, if we can guide their fire, they could be the key to winning this war. But what if we can't control them?" Threx questioned. "What if their unpredictability consumes us all?" Zelor clenched his mandibles in frustration. "We have no choice. We need more troops, and the humans are our best option. But we must proceed with caution." As the Avaris neared Earth, the Meridian fleet emerged from its cloaking field, becoming visible to Earth's sensors for the first time. The first signs of the encounter were detected by Earth's early warning system, a series of strange, unidentified objects that streaked across the sky. Military forces scrambled to intercept, but the Meridian fleet was far more advanced than anything humanity had encountered before. Back on Earth, Commander Hayes and her team watched as the first Meridian ship dropped out of its cloaking mode. The size of the craft, several times larger than Earth's largest space stations, left them in stunned silence. "This is it," Ilara said, her voice calm but resolute. "Time to show them what humanity is made of." In mere moments, the battle for Earth's future would begin. Would humanity rise to the challenge, or would the invaders learn why Kirin had warned them all those weeks ago? As the Meridian fleet made its move, the galaxy watched in silence. The question that had haunted the Galactic Council since Kirin's warning remained unanswered. Was humanity a weapon to be used, or a force that would change everything? The answer, as the universe would soon learn, lay in the hearts and minds of the humans who would stand their ground against an unstoppable enemy. And in their resistance, the galaxy would find a truth it could no longer ignore: humanity's defiance. The Meridian fleet loomed over Earth, their immense warships casting shadows over the fragile atmosphere below. The ships, designed for war, glinted with cold, mechanical precision, silent giants in space. The humans on Earth, however, had no intention of simply yielding. Across the globe, military forces were on high alert, ready for whatever was to come. It was a moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. Would they submit to an alien power or rise as something far more unexpected? Commander Ilara Hayes stood in the command center of the United Nations Space Command, UNSC, her fingers gripping the edges of the control panel. Her team worked furiously, sending coordinates to Earth's orbiting defenses. Humanity's advanced satellites, missiles, and fighters, though outmatched by the sheer size of the Meridian fleet, were ready for action. The Meridian ships had breached Earth's outer defenses, but the battle had only just begun. "All units, report status," Ilara barked, her voice sharp and focused. "Interceptor squads are in position, Commander. We've got 25 minutes until the first wave reaches the upper atmosphere," replied Lieutenant Ben Harper, his voice tinged with nervous energy. "Good. We've trained for this," Ilara said, her tone unwavering. "We may not have their technology, but we have something they don't: determination." As the Meridian ships approached, Xalar, the commander of the fleet, stood in the grand observation chamber of the Avaris, his eyes scanning the human planet below. Despite his initial skepticism, the humans had managed to rally their forces much faster than expected. The radar blips were increasing by the second. They had found him. "We've underestimated them," Zaylor muttered, his sharp gaze flickering to his tactical display. "They're already deploying fighters. Primitive, but effective." Lieutenant Threx was at his side. "Their response time is impressive, but it won't be enough." Zaylor stared at the earth below, considering his next move. "No, it won't. But we'll see what they're truly capable of." As the Meridian fleet began to advance, the first human fighters streaked into the sky, their engines roaring through the atmosphere. The sight of humanity's ships rising against the incoming threat was a testament to their resilience. To the aliens, it seemed almost comical, small, agile, and far less advanced than their own massive warships. But the humans were not to be underestimated. Ilara's voice crackled through the comms, calm and composed. "This is it. Keep your focus and don't engage until you have a clear shot. Remember, we're not just defending Earth. We're proving that humanity will never go down without a fight." Her team nodded, their resolve unwavering. As the first wave of Meridian ships descended toward Earth, the human pilots in their sleek, rapid response fighters engaged. The missiles and lasers fired with precision, though they were often deflected by the Meridian ships' advanced shields. Still, humanity's fighters were relentless, never ceasing their attacks. They refused to give up, no matter how many times their missiles failed to penetrate the alien defenses. Back on Earth, the global media watched in awe as the battle unfolded in the skies. People who had never imagined that their world could become a battleground were now seeing their own soldiers rise to the occasion. The world's forces, unified in this singular purpose, fought as one. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Meridian flagship Averis, Sailor analyzed the human tactics, his face betraying a flicker of uncertainty. "They fight like cornered animals, fierce and unpredictable. This is new." Threx, always quick to dismiss humanity, frowned. "They adapt faster than any species we've encountered. Their tactics aren't conventional, but there's brilliance in their chaos." Zaylor stood up, his exoskeleton whirring as he moved. "If we allow them to keep fighting like this, it could shift the balance of power. We need to escalate." The Meridian commander gave the order for the fleet to deploy more advanced weapons, calling in a new wave of assault ships designed to overwhelm Earth's defenses. The ships moved forward, their massive hulls crackling with energy, ready to lay waste to the Earth's defenses and force humanity into submission. But Ilara wasn't done yet. "We can't stop now," she shouted over the intercom. "All squadrons, focus fire on their lead ships. If we can take down the command vessel, the rest will falter." Her plan was risky, but it was their only chance. The Meridian ships had the upper hand in sheer firepower, but the humans had something else. The ability to think on their feet, to adapt in the heat of battle. They had no choice but to rely on their ingenuity. The human pilots followed Ilara's command without hesitation. They weaved through the skies, dodging laser blasts and plasma fire, targeting the weak points of the alien ships with surgical precision. As the first wave of human fighters dove toward the lead Meridian flagship, explosions rang out, their fiery trails marking the sky. Back on Earth, military forces were preparing to use their most dangerous weapon yet, an experimental orbital railgun designed to fire at targets in space. With the Meridian fleet looming overhead, this was humanity's final chance to make a stand. If they could strike first, they might stand a chance at turning the tide. "Ready the railgun," Ilara ordered, her voice unshaken. "We'll give them everything we've got." As the massive cannon aligned with the Meridian flagship, the human forces took one final collective breath. And then the railgun fired. The shot was a blur of light, cutting through space at speeds no human weapon had ever achieved before. It collided with the Meridian flagship with a deafening explosion, sending shockwaves through the fleet. Zeller watched, his eyes wide with disbelief as his lead ship was ripped apart by the blast. The Meridian fleet, disoriented by the unexpected strike, faltered for just a moment. That moment was all the humans needed. The battle was far from over, But for the first time since the conflict began, Earth had struck a decisive blow. As the Meridian fleet reeled from the impact, Commander Elara Hayes looked out toward the vast expanse of space, where stars twinkled like distant dreams. "This is just the beginning," she whispered to herself. "We may be small in the grand scheme of the galaxy, but we will fight for our home, for our future. And we will not stop until every last invader understands. We are humanity, and we do not surrender." The struggle had only just begun, but the tide had shifted. Humanity, against all odds, had shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. The Meridian fleet had learned the hard way that human resilience was an unyielding force. But in the stars, other powers watched, waiting to see how the humans would fare. And for the first time, they were not certain what the outcome would be. The gathering storm. The dust had barely settled from the first battle, but the story of humanity's defiance was already spreading across the stars. The Galactic Council, still reeling from Ambassador Kieran's warning, now found themselves forced to confront the reality of the situation. The humans, who had been dismissed as insignificant, had done what no one expected: fought back. And they had done so with an unexpected ferocity, ingenuity, and determination that sent ripples through the galaxy. In the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, the delegates gathered again, their conversations more heated than ever. The room was filled with anxious energy as species from every corner of the galaxy exchanged views on the human conflict. The Galactic Council, once a body that prided itself on its peaceful resolutions, now found itself struggling with the consequences of their inaction. "I told you," Ambassador Kieran said, his voice steady but tinged with frustration. "You underestimated them. Humanity has the potential to change the balance of power in the galaxy." A tall insectoid delegate from the planet Salernar clicked its mandibles in agitation. "What happened at Earth was a fluke. We are more advanced than they are. One battle does not change the fact that they are not ready for war." Kieran's silver eyes narrowed. "What you fail to realize is that humans don't need to be the most advanced. They have something far more powerful: adaptability. They are able to turn any situation to their advantage. Their creativity is unmatched, and that is what makes them dangerous." Across the room, a reptilian delegate from the planet Korthrak sneered. "They are primitive. They still fight with physical weapons. We have seen their technology. It is nothing compared to ours." Ambassador Kieran's voice grew more forceful. "You misunderstand. Their technology may be crude in comparison, but their ability to innovate, to find new ways to use what they have, is beyond anything you've seen. You should have listened to my warning." As the council members bickered, the news from Earth continued to pour in. The Meridian fleet had been pushed back, at least temporarily. But Sailor, the Meridian commander who had suffered a humiliating defeat at the hands of humanity's orbital railgun, was far from finished. The Meridian Alliance had regrouped and was preparing for their next move. It was clear that Earth had just scratched the surface of what the aliens had in store. Back on Earth, Commander Elara Hayes stood before the holographic display, watching as the Meridian fleet retreated into the shadows of space. The battle had been intense, but it was far from over. Earth had gained a temporary victory, but she knew that the Meridian would return with a vengeance. Their pride had been wounded, and their commander, Xalar, was a force to be reckoned with. "We've bought ourselves some time," Elara said, turning to her team. "But we need to be ready for what's next. The Meridian won't take this lightly. We've shown them what we're capable of, but they're going to adapt, just like we did." Lieutenant Ben Harper, who had been with Elara through the thick of the battle, nodded in agreement. "We've made our point, but we can't afford to underestimate them. We need to keep pushing forward with our defenses. If we can't stop them next time, we're finished." Ilara's eyes flicked to the screen, where the retreating Meridian fleet disappeared into the blackness of space. "I agree, but we also need to prepare for more than just military tactics. We need to understand them. What are they really after? Why are they here?" The human resistance had been successful so far, but Ilara knew that humanity couldn't just rely on raw firepower. To win, they would need more than just weapons. They would need knowledge, insight into the enemy's strategies, and most importantly, a deep understanding of their own strengths. Humanity had proven it could fight, but now they needed to prove they could outsmart the enemy. As Earth's military forces prepared for the next battle, a secret meeting was taking place far from human eyes. On a remote asteroid base, a group of galactic rebels, individuals who had long fought against the Meridian Alliance, gathered in secrecy. They had heard the whispers of Earth's victory and saw an opportunity, one they could not afford to let slip away. "We have to reach out to them," said Lyra, a former diplomat from the Tovek sector, her hands trembling as she reviewed Earth's latest communications. Humanity's resistance could be the tipping point. If they can fight off the Meridian, they could change everything. A hulking being from the planet Khazar spoke up, his voice gruff. "You really think humans can win this war? They've barely survived one battle. The Meridian are relentless, and their war machine is a force like nothing we've seen before." Lyra's eyes hardened. "They've shown they're not like us. They fight for survival, and they fight with a purpose. If we can get them to ally with us, we might stand a chance. We need to put aside our differences and join forces. If we don't act, we will all fall under the Meridian's rule." The group fell silent, each of them contemplating the weight of Lyra's words. The Meridian Alliance had conquered countless worlds, their technological might unmatched by most. But now there was a spark of hope, a glimmer of resistance. Humanity had proven that even the mightiest of empires could be challenged. Lyra stood and faced the others. "We will contact Earth. We will offer them everything we have. Intelligence, weapons, resources. But most of all, we will offer them a chance to do what no one else has dared. Stand up to the Meridian and win." The rebels knew the path ahead would not be easy. Earth's forces were still small in the grand scale of the galaxy, and their technological advancements, while impressive, were still far from those of the Meridian. But the humans had something the galaxy's other inhabitants didn't: a burning will to fight and a stubborn refusal to accept defeat. On Earth, as the military prepared for the inevitable next wave of the Meridian forces, Ilara Hayes stood on the edge of the command center, staring out at the stars. Humanity's fight had just begun. The Meridian Alliance may have been powerful, but the humans had already proven they could fight back, no matter the odds. "We're not alone in this," Ilara whispered, her heart filled with resolve. "We may be small, but we'll make them see what humanity is capable of." The galaxy had underestimated Earth before, but now humanity was about to show them the true meaning of resilience. And this was just the beginning. The unknown ally. As the Meridian fleet retreated into the dark expanse of space, the people of Earth did not have the luxury of rest. The victory, though hard-earned, had been a temporary reprieve. The Meridian Alliance was far from defeated. Their forces were vast, their technology formidable, and they would not simply walk away from a planet that had dared to fight back. The question now was, how could Earth stand against such an overwhelming force for the long haul? Commander Ilara Hayes paced the war room, her eyes scanning the holographic maps of Earth's defenses. Her mind raced, not just with strategies for the coming battles, but with the gnawing feeling that they were still missing something crucial. The Meridian had shown themselves to be cunning, ruthless, and relentless. If humanity was going to survive, they needed more than just their fighters and railguns. They needed something else, something the Meridian hadn't expected. "Commander Hayes," said a voice from behind. It was Lieutenant Ben Harper, his usual calm demeanor replaced with a look of urgency. "There's been a message. It's from the Tovek sector." Ilara turned, brow furrowed. The Tovek sector had been a region in the galaxy that had long been under the thumb of the Meridian Alliance. It was a place where the warlords had crushed any hope of resistance, and for the most part, the people there had resigned themselves to their fate. What could they want with Earth? "Put it through," Ilara ordered. A holographic image flickered to life before her. The figure that appeared was a woman, humanoid but with skin that shimmered like liquid silver. Her eyes were piercing, yet there was a calm in her voice that suggested both authority and knowledge. "I am Lyra of the Tovak Rebellion," the woman began. "I am contacting you because, despite all odds, your species has done something that the galaxy thought impossible. You've made the Meridian pause. You've shown them that you can fight back. But I fear that is only the beginning of what is to come. The Meridian will not let this go." Ilara exchanged a look with Ben. This was unexpected, to say the least. "And what exactly are you offering us, Lyra?" Lyra's image remained steady, her face unreadable. "What I offer is an alliance, a chance for humanity to join forces with those of us who have long resisted the Meridian. Together, we can turn the tide in this war." "Why Earth?" Ilara asked. "Why now?" Lyra's gaze hardened. "Because, Commander Hayes, your species has something the Meridian cannot predict. Your unpredictable ingenuity, your ability to adapt. But that is not all. We have been watching you for some time, and we believe that, with the right resources and guidance, Earth could become the key to defeating the Meridian once and for all." The offer was a tempting one, but Ilara had been in the military long enough to know that things were never as simple as they seemed. Still, the more she listened, the more she realized that this was an opportunity they couldn't afford to ignore. "How do we know we can trust you?" Ilara asked. Lyra's face softened slightly. "Because we have no other choice. The Meridian will wipe out anyone who stands against them. But if you, humans, join us, we can give you the weapons, the strategies, and the knowledge you need to push them back. Together, we can not only survive, we can change the future of this war." Ilara hesitated, her fingers tapping the table as she processed Lyra's words. There were risks, yes, but there were risks in doing nothing too. If they continued to fight the Meridian on their own, Earth would eventually fall. But with an ally like the Tovak rebels, an ally who had been fighting the Meridian for decades, perhaps there was hope. "All right," Ilara said finally, making her decision. "We'll need more information. If we're going to fight this war together, we need to know exactly what we're up against and what you're offering." Lyra nodded. "I will send you the details. But know this, Commander, this will not be easy. The Meridian will not stop. They will come for Earth again, and this time, they will be prepared. But if we stand united, we can win. We can make them see that humanity is not a species to be trifled with." The hologram flickered and disappeared, leaving Ilara alone with her thoughts. She turned to Ben. "Set up a meeting with the Tovak leaders. We'll need all the intel we can get," she said, her voice steady, though the weight of the decision pressed on her shoulders. "It looks like Earth's fight is about to get a whole lot bigger." While Ilara prepared for the new alliance, the Meridian fleet was not idle. In the vastness of space, Commander Xalar paced restlessly aboard the Avaris. The defeat at Earth had been a painful blow to his pride, and now he was facing the reality of their failure. The humans, in all their chaotic brilliance, had forced his fleet to retreat. But the war was far from over. Xalar knew that the Meridian Alliance's defeat of Earth was inevitable. It was just a matter of time. But then, a message came through. A data burst, encrypted and heavily guarded. Xalar's antennae twitched in interest as he decrypted the message. It was from a high-ranking officer within the Meridian government, detailing new strategies for dealing with humanity. The message, however, included something unexpected, an offer. The message spoke of an alliance with a mysterious new faction, one that had quietly begun to grow in strength during the past few decades, hidden in the shadows of the galaxy. This faction, once thought to be nothing more than a rogue group of outcasts, was now powerful enough to challenge the Meridian. The message was clear. The Meridian could no longer defeat humanity alone. They needed to seek out this faction and form a new, more formidable alliance to crush Earth. Xalar's eyes narrowed. The universe was full of surprises, and the Meridian were finding out just how unpredictable it could be. "We are not alone," Zaylor muttered to himself. "This will not be an easy war, but we will break Earth, and any alliance they make will be destroyed." The game had just changed, and now both sides were playing with higher stakes than ever before. As Earth prepared to face this new, mysterious threat, one thing became clear: the battle for the future of the galaxy was no longer just about military might. It was about survival, ingenuity, and the unexpected alliances that would shape the course of history. Humanity had shown that it could stand alone, but now, with the help of new allies, Earth's fight had become part of something far larger, a war that would determine the fate of all the stars. The hidden strength. On Earth, the dust from the previous battles had barely settled, but the tension was already building. The sudden alliance with the Tovak rebellion was still fresh, and Commander Ilara Hayes was left with little time to process the enormity of it all. With humanity's position now more precarious than ever, Earth had become the focal point of an interstellar war that stretched far beyond anything they had ever imagined. Ilara stood on the observation deck of the United Nations Space Command, UNSC, headquarters, gazing out at the stars. It was hard to believe that just weeks ago, Earth had been a peaceful planet, unaware of the threats lurking beyond its atmosphere. Now, Earth was a battleground, caught between the mighty Meridian Alliance and the unexpected allies who had come to offer support. Yet, even with the Tovak at their side, Ilara knew that Earth's survival was far from certain. Humanity had always relied on its ability to adapt, but the scale of the war they were about to face was unlike anything they had encountered. The Meridian had already proven their might, and with their relentless pursuit, they would not stop until Earth was reduced to ash. But Ilara had seen the fire in the eyes of every soldier, every civilian who had stood in defense of Earth. Humanity had something the other galactic factions did not: an unyielding will to survive, and an instinct for turning the tide in the most desperate of moments. "Commander," Ben Harper's voice cut through the silence, pulling Ilara from her thoughts. He stepped forward, holding a datapad. "The Tovak have sent us their full intelligence report. It's more detailed than anything we've had access to before." Ilara turned and motioned for him to continue. "What do we have?" Ben's fingers moved swiftly across the pad. "It seems the Meridian Alliance has been consolidating power across several star systems. They've been recruiting mercenary factions and raiding neutral planets for resources. But the most important piece of information: they've found a way to bypass our orbital defenses. They've developed a new weapon that could neutralize our most advanced defenses." Ilara's stomach sank. "A new weapon?" Ben nodded. "They've started deploying a fleet of ships equipped with gravity-bending technology. If they deploy it against Earth, they could manipulate the planet's own gravitational field, crippling everything from our satellites to our ground-based defenses." Ilara took a deep breath. This was a setback they couldn't afford. Gravity manipulation was a level of technology humanity had only dreamed of achieving, and now the Meridian were wielding it against them. But Earth had faced impossible odds before. She wasn't about to give up now. "How long do we have before they deploy this weapon?" she asked, her voice steady despite the weight of the news. Ben's eyes flickered to the report. "They're not sure when, but we have less than a month to prepare. They're building up forces near the Tovak border, and if they move quickly, they could have their weapon operational sooner than we think." Ilara's mind raced. A month. Humanity would have to act fast. They couldn't just rely on the Tovak's intelligence. They would need to counter the weapon before the Meridian used it against them. Earth would have to develop its own version of gravity manipulation, or something close to it, to even the playing field. "Gather the best scientists we have," Ilara ordered. "We're going to need all hands on deck. And reach out to Lyra. We need to know everything the Tovak have on the Meridian's gravity technology." As Ben moved to execute the orders, Ilara turned her gaze back to the stars. The Meridian were coming, but so was humanity's chance to rise above their limitations. They would not fall. Not now, not ever. Far from Earth, in the cold expanse of space, the Meridian fleet was making its final preparations. Commander Xaler stood on the bridge of the Averis, his eyes fixed on the stars ahead. The defeat at Earth had left him humiliated, but now he had a new weapon, a weapon that would ensure the Meridian Alliance's victory. No more would the humans be able to fend off the Meridian. No more would they rise up against the superior might of his fleet. "Report," Xaler ordered. The tactical officer, a sleek, angular alien from the planet Zinthar, quickly relayed the data. "The gravity field manipulation system is fully operational, Commander. The weapon will be ready for deployment within the next 10 days. Once activated, Earth's gravity will be destabilized. We will disable their communications, weaponry, and entire military infrastructure. They won't even be able to fight back." Xalor allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. "Excellent. Prepare the fleet for the final assault. We move in 10 days." Back on Earth, the race against time was on. In underground labs across the globe, humanity's brightest minds were hard at work, attempting to reverse engineer the technology that could save them. Scientists, engineers, and military strategists worked around the clock to unlock the mysteries of gravity manipulation. The clock was ticking, and every moment felt like a lifetime. Commander Ilara Hayes spent her days bouncing between strategy meetings and overseeing the development of the gravity countermeasures. The pressure was intense, but she remained focused. The stakes were higher than ever. If Earth couldn't neutralize the Meridian weapon, humanity would be at the mercy of a force they couldn't even hope to understand, let alone defeat. Late one evening, as Ilara stood overlooking the series of data streams, her communicator beeped. It was a message from Lyra. The holographic projection of the Tovak leader shimmered to life. "Commander Hayes, we've received word from our spies. The Meridian are moving faster than anticipated. Their weapon will be deployed sooner than expected. You have less than 10 days. Ilara's face hardened. "We're working on it. We have a plan to neutralize their gravity weapon. We're close, but we need more time." Lyra's expression softened slightly, though the urgency in her voice remained. "You don't have much time, Commander. We've managed to secure a hidden base of operations on the outer rim of the galaxy. It's a long shot, but we may have access to ancient technology that could help. It's not a guaranteed solution, but it might buy you the time you need." Ilara hesitated. The offer was tempting, but the thought of splitting their forces in the middle of such a critical time was risky. Yet the stakes were too high to ignore. "Send us the coordinates," Ilara said. "We'll take the risk. Earth's survival depends on every option we have." As the transmission ended, Ilara turned to face her team. "We're going after that technology. It's our last chance." The future of Earth hung in the balance. With every passing second, the odds grew slimmer. But humanity had always fought back from the brink of destruction. And this time, they would do it again. Xaler's fleet moved silently through the dark stretches of space, their deadly weapon primed and ready for deployment. Earth was within their reach, and soon their victory would be complete. But the Meridian had underestimated humanity before, and now, as the final confrontation loomed, it would be the humans who would decide the galaxy's fate.